just wanted to come on here and release something. My heart feels heavy. For a lot of reasons. And I just want to know what my Father's saying, about all of it. It's such a strange time on earth right now. It's coronavirus and quarantine and fear and loss, and sadness. I mean, you just start listing off the emotions, and they're real. The racism, the fear that comes with it, the loss and the sadness and the grief and the anger. Things that some of us can't even appreciate what it feels like. Yet, hearts are heavy. And I just want to know what my Father's saying. A lot of people are saying a lot of things. Sometimes when I just don't know what to say or feel or how to express myself. It's like words can't always say what you feel. And sometimes you just can't release it. music knows how. Sometimes it feels sad, and there's a build-up to something more joyful and powerful. Sometimes there's a rest. Sometimes it just reminds me of life, you know? The changes in tune and speed. Sometimes it feels sorrowful. Sometimes it feels happy. Sometimes it feels inspiring. Sometimes it feels like it's waiting, just waiting to go to the next step. Kind of leaves you hanging on the edge with anticipation. And maybe some of these emotions are how people feel. Some people feel stuck, just hanging on the edge, waiting for the next moment of release, when everything begins to make sense together. When you can breathe again. When life makes sense again. When you don't feel stuck on the same repetitive pattern. But the release comes and then you can breathe. Because you've moved to the next step. But then somehow you miss the familiarity of that past place that you ran, even though you felt stuck and you hated it and you just wanted to move on. I feel like I do that a lot in life. Stay stuck on something. And when I finally get released, and I just mourn the loss of the thing that was behind me. Made me think about the children of Israel this morning and how God brought them out of the land of Egypt. because their mind was so stuck back in Egypt. This place that became so familiar. That they weren't ready to enter into all the promises that He had for them. They complained, just wanted to go back to what was easy and comfortable, or maybe not even easy is the wrong word. It wasn't easy, it was hard. They hated it. But there was something familiar and comfortable about it, because it's all they ever knew. And I think transitions are that way, when you have to leave something that you have to cut something off or leave something behind in your life that isn't God's plan or isn't in keeping with the next step of where you're going. And it feels like something dies or something, a dream, a hope, something got lost in the interim. And so I guess today I identify with the place that they found themselves, just this place of wandering and feeling lost, but yet a faithful Father and willing to take them into their promised land when they weren't ready to receive it. Even the promised land had its giants to be conquered. Could they go into their promised land and just be slaves again? Slaves to the new giants in the new land. And they were never meant to be slaves. They needed a Joshua. They needed a Caleb. Someone who was strong and courageous. And so I just speak to you today that there is a Joshua on the inside of you. There is a Caleb on the inside of you, a strength and a warrior who you haven't tapped into yet. Maybe I'm just talking to myself. But there is a strength on the inside of you that God is cultivating all that time wandering in the wilderness. It was the garden that cultivated the Calebs and the Joshuas. Those who would see a promised land full of giants and not shrink back into a poverty mindset, into a mentality that says, I can't, into a mindset that says, I'm nothing in their eyes. I just call out the Caleb inside of you and the Joshua to rise up on the inside of you, on the inside of me. Together we will conquer and overtake. All God has promised us. We will break through the boundaries that fear has placed around us. The boundaries that says you can't go in. It's too scary. They're too big. The giants of fear are too big. But there is a wealthy place. There is a wealthy place, a land flowing with milk and honey on the other side of that giant. God didn't make the land wealthy for the giants. He used the giants to make the land wealthy for you. The giants have fear and intimidation. But we have peace and the love of God. I speak a peace over you and over your family and over your heart and your mind. That peace would reign. Shalom. Shalom in your home. And in your heart. Even in the chaos. Those giants of fear and intimidation. The giant of COVID-19. A giant of pain and suffering and injustice and racism. The giant of depression and fear and poverty. The giant of identity. Not knowing who you are, where you fit, where you belong. Oh, I just pray for a kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. I just pray that heaven's kingdom, heaven's way would invade us, and we would be the people of the way of the kingdom, that we would understand the way of the kingdom. That's my prayer today. That we would understand the way of the kingdom. And that we would just hear what he's saying. That I would hear what he's saying. Anyways, I know I got kind of emotional there, but I just needed to release some things, and I don't know if anybody's feeling the same way as me or can identify with any of that. But sometimes just getting in this space and just playing the piano and just listening to my own heart. What is my heart saying? How do I feel? Sometimes I get so numb, I just don't even know how to articulate what I feel. And it's so much easier to turn a blind eye and run from everything that's scary and uncomfortable. Hide back in Egypt. Oh, I hate it in Egypt. But there's something comfortable and familiar there, right? And my mind is stuck there. My mind says I deserve Egypt. I'm no better. But I have to make room for Joshua to grow in my garden. Places in your life that seem dry and separated. Those wilderness places where you feel just cut off from everything you know. That is the grace of God. It is the grace of God that strengthens you in that place to face your giants. How many have ever saw the wilderness as the garden? But it was a place where they were fed. There was always food, always water. Their clothes and shoes didn't wear out. It was God's garden, it was God's grace. They wandered in His grace until those seeds could be cultivated and grow, until their promise was springing up and growing all this time while they're wandering in this place of not knowing, in this place of feeling lost and separated. They didn't know their seeds were growing, their garden was growing, their promised land was growing. It was flowing with milk and honey. Their freedom was being cultivated in that place of separation. Their identity was being cultivated in that place of isolation. A place where they were taken away from everything that was familiar. A place where God became the only familiar thing they had. It wasn't punishment to wander. It wasn't punishment to be separated or isolated or taken away from everything they knew. It was the grace of God to prepare them for all His promises. So sometimes what hurts us and what separates us and what demands a response from us, when God puts us in a place, in a corner, in a rock, in a hard place, it demands a response. The response is, will you grow here? Will you grow in this place? Will you grow in this place? Jesus was in a garden. isolated and alone, but he wasn't alone. But in that place of separation and isolation, he had to come face to face with every fear. Before he could cross over, he had to face all the fears in the garden. You could say Jesus was making room for his Joshua, his hidden strength on the inside that was going to give him the courage to face his cross, to cross through the pain, through the struggle, and to face the giant of death, to cross into life. And when he faced his greatest fears in that garden, he faced every fear that you and I will ever fear. He faced every pain, and he took it across. He took it across from death to life. Special about the garden. Yeah. So I pray that many of us are in this place, this garden, this wilderness place, that it only looks like a wilderness because the promise hasn't sprouted yet. But while you're treading ground, while you're walking, while you're plowing your ground, as you walk in the wilderness, you are plowing for a greater tomorrow. While you wander, you're irritating the ground and causing new life to form and break forth. The biggest grapes you've ever seen, the greatest harvest, coming from a place of death and separation. The greatest life you've ever seen coming on the other side of your giant. So I call out to your Joshua, to your garden, to your Caleb. I see you. I see you. May you be strong and courageous. For the Lord your God is with you. And only be still. The salvation of the Lord as He will take you across. I am the way, the truth, and the life, the bridge. He's the bridge. He's the bridge. He will bridge every gap. in the spirit and in the power of Joshua. And of Jesus, our forerunner. And that you will cultivate a garden in your season of lack, in your season of separation, in your season of fear, that in your garden, fear will have no place. And that love will grow in its stead. Every time love tries to grow, there's an assault of fear. But God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. Joshua is not afraid. There is a seed inside of you that is growing and cultivating, and it's not afraid to face the cross. It's not afraid to cross over, to face the giants of intimidation and fear. There's something cultivating inside of me that's the same. I'm not pretending to have crossed over. I'm merely just rinsing out what's inside of my heart. Releasing the desire for my Joshua to stand up tall inside my garden of separation and bring me into my promised land and you into yours. Well, I know that was awfully vulnerable of me, and I'm going to share it anyways. And I just hope that that it speaks to some of you in some way that can resonate with you and maybe inspire you to see your struggle from a different light, I guess. Or if nothing else, to help you release or put words or tears to what's inside of you.